Hello and welcome to the Lunchbox. We are going to be reviewing episode 7, the second last episode of The Boys. The episode is called Butcher, Baker, Candlestick Maker. So that's a little tidbit for you guys.
Great title.
I am joined again by the boys, Lou and Alex. And this is a big episode. Obviously, we're one away from the finale and things are happening. So we definitely have a lot to kind of go over. So let's start kind of with the simplest, I think, storyline. What's happening with Maeve and her girlfriend. So who wants to talk about that?
I'll go first on this one, which kind of goes with our predictions for later, but I'm going to add one prediction here. I don't think Maeve is going to make it because I think her decisions are so focused on keeping Elena safe that it almost like she's not thinking straight. So even when Starlight was offering a helping hand, she was like, no. I guess she was there in the building to do something when all that craziness happened. And yeah, like I said, Starlight was offering help and she refused. So I don't exactly know what her plans are, but to me, and next week being the last episode, I think she's gonna die.
I'm gonna agree with that. Like in some way, I think there's gonna be a sacrifice on her part for Elena, and the whole breakup scene. I think it perfectly encapsulates why Maeve and Elena won't work. Like in her little fit of rage, she just flips a table like almost out of the room. And it's like, well, it's not really gonna work out if one person can't lift the car over their head. Yeah. Never mind the fact that Homelander involves himself, but Homelander's been distracted with Stormfront. It could have possibly worked, but it's more than just Homelander. It's a lot of the PR people kind of pushing them towards doing things they're not comfortable with, and that's why like Maeve's been one of the best characters this season. Although she's not like the most important, she's been like very like a good focal point to show like what else is wrong with just Vought itself, besides creating superheroes.
I totally agree. I thought it was a really nice callback to when we had first kind of been introduced to Elena. I keep messing her name up. I always want to say Elena, but it's Elena. Anyways, I thought it was a really awesome callback to when we first met Elena, because the thing that Maeve had expressed is like, you can't handle me and what's actually like what I'm actually like and the things I have to go through. So I thought in that moment when Maeve was like, well, this is me and I told you couldn't handle it, I thought that was like a really like, it was a really sad but really honest callback, because it had been something that they had talked about already. So moving on from, I guess, the lovers spat, we have, I think this episode had two really important storylines. One of them being everything that happened with Petite Huey and Lamplighter. So who wants to talk about that? Like, were you surprised? And like, how did you react when that happened?
So those are some bomb-ass pornos that Lamplighter was watching. Well, word on the street is like they actually filmed them. I don't know if it's like softcore or hardcore, but it was really funny to see that sort of spoof. I don't know how graphic it gets, but anyways, yeah, it was something else to see. Like that scene especially to show like Lamplighter is like, I guess, sort of a porn addict and like watching it during the daytime. It's like, okay, he's gonna testify, but there's something still a little off about him. And like that was the first, or not first clue, but like that's a clue to like it's not over with him. He's gonna do something, that he shouldn't. And I honestly thought he was gonna try and get into Vought's good graces again by delivering Huey, but it wasn't the case. What he wanted to do was just set himself on fire and that whole deal, and that was gruesome, especially when Huey just cuts his arm right off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will, like, this show is like it gives the horror, a lot of horror movies are run for its money in terms of gore, and I love it. I love seeing it every week. But as far as Lamplighter, you know, well, I'll tip my cap to him. He went out like a champ, and he was like for just like a guest star. Sean Ashmore did like such a great job with what he had for just like 3 episodes. It was great to see him back after having seen him in X-Men so long ago. It was just, you know, just awesome to see.
I was gonna say, last episode we all predicted that Lamplighter was gonna die. Like, that was the thing. We knew that he was suicidal. He'd wanted to die. I know for myself, I did not think it was gonna be like that. I thought it was gonna be more of like a sacrificial moment of, I'm just gonna like throw myself in front of bullets for you guys or whatever, and not like go so far out of his way to have a dramatic suicide. Like, when he saw that his statue wasn't there, he's like, oh, I wanted to do it in front of my statue. I'm like, you drama queen, calm down. Like, and I'm sorry, like, who just lights themselves on fire of all the ways to go? That was just like so much and so shocking, because at first I was a little bit like, is he immune to fire, right? Like, you're a fire superhero, you'd think like it wouldn't hurt you. That's what we've seen. Yeah, no, that was not the case. So when he started shrieking, I lost it, because you hear him like dying, and I was like, oh wow, you picked literally the most painful way to die. But I guess that kind of comes full circle to like all the guilt he felt about burning people alive, that he's like, well, I'm gonna go out the same way. And it was dark. It was so dark. Yeah. So I thought it was really fun. Like, it was kind of a really fun interaction between Lamplighter and Huey, to have that like, we're both the underdogs kind of bond between them, and then have Lamplighter be like, well, I'm more of an underdog, so bye. And then Huey have to like kind of figure it out. Like, I was so impressed with Huey being like, oh, I need his hand, and just chopping it off. I was like, okay, we're a long way from like Huey when he killed Translucent and like couldn't get it together afterwards. So I'm impressed with him this episode for sure. What do you think, Lou?
I actually agree with both of you in all your points, but I was actually just a bit disappointed in Lamplighter's kind of turn into more of a pervy person, because if you look at last episode and the way he was acting, it was always like very super heroic. That, like you said, you thought he was gonna kind of die in a blaze of glory, but not lighting himself on fire.
Not a literal blaze.
Yeah. Like a sacrifice. Like him and Huey were there, so I was thinking they were gonna get like caught, and he's gonna just sacrifice himself for Huey and the cause. But dude had his own problems, addicted to porn too much, and then like, I think there's, if you kind of go through the whole episode, there's this kind of theme about fathers. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but with Butcher and with MM, and there's just like an underlying thing of like father.
Yeah, even Huey mentions like his dad and how his dad did nothing.
There was almost everybody had like a mention of a dad. And as for Huey, you're also right, because I was like, he did something good, even though it was kind of in a comedic turn. It's like he just was dropped into the situation, so he had to do kind of what he had to do. But he did good. It was the first time I was like, all right, Huey, not bad. Even though everything was kind of just accidental, you still chopped off his arm to do something with it, to help, what's her name? Starlight, even though she escaped and it was actually her mom, but it all goes.
It all worked out in the end.
Yeah, it all worked out.
I guess moving from there, like, so Starlight got captured at the start of the episode because her mom is a doofus, for lack of a better word. She's not the brightest, and called Vought to like get clearance for Starlight to take a vacation, therefore telling Vought where Starlight was. So needless to say, they both get captured. They end up at the tower. And then with the chaos of Lamplighter, they both get released, and kind of stumble upon Huey, which that made me chuckle so much when Huey like hears the voice of like a woman screaming, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna like save Starlight, it's her mom. And then and the mom have the most awkward interaction because they'd only seen each other at that like religious event in the first season, and it's so awkward.
Yep.
And then like Starlight walks down the hallway and sees them together. Like that moment was like so funny to me, and I loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
Don't forget Huey was holding that arm that he hacked.
Yeah,
right
just
off.
like, is that a hand? Yeah.
Right.
So we got to talk about the death, because there was a couple deaths this episode. The most, well, I mean, there are a lot of notable ones, I would say, but we lost one of the 7. So Black Noir got taken out by an almond joy.
What a way to go.
Yeah. I was so mad about that at first. I was like, that is the dumbest way, because I thought like Black Noir's been a badass character this whole season, like even the whole show. And I was like, wow, to really get taken out by an almond joy is so stupid. But then I thought about it and I was like, we knew that he was allergic, because this is a whole moment that I had. But in episode 4 of this season, when he goes down to the tech room and the girl's looking for Butcher, she's eating an almond joy. And then he holds out the garbage can to her and points at the garbage can, like, throw it out. So I was like, because I remember being so confused. I was like, why can't she eat her almond joy? Like, why is this a significant moment?
Wow.
And then it came back and I was like, oh my God, like we kind of knew that he had some kind of vendetta against almond joys. So yeah. What did you guys think? Were you like impressed with that death? Did you hate it? Like, what do you think?
I refuse to believe he's dead. Like last
Fair.
we saw him, he was dying. He was, just crawling over to the EpiPen that was like thrown across the room, and that's what it was left with. If there's no corpse, there's no death. That's like my usually movie 101, horror
Fair.
101. Like the bad guy, you shoot him a bunch of times, but if they don't show the body on the floor, it'll disappear from the ground. So I'm gonna say that like it might not be the last we see of Black Noir. Hopefully not, because like you said, he was a great character. Like it's kind of like poetic justice the way he died, like presumably died.
Yeah.
But he's just too cool to let go of, because he's like the stand-in for Batman, and you always want to see more Batman.
He's gonna come back in like a new form, and he's gonna be White Blanc. That's my theory.
I like that.
Lou, what'd you think?
Actually, I have a prediction, but I'm gonna save it for later on. But I really like the almost poetry in that Black Noir died while beating up Annie, and he died with what's that chocolate bar again called? Sorry,
The Almond Joy.
The Almond Joy, which is Annie's favorite. Right? When she had that conversation with Huey.
Yeah.
So
like, who likes those crap chocolate bars?
Yeah.
Full circle. Yeah. She knew she'd need it.
So that's my favorite part of that scene. And kind of like Alex, I don't think he's really dead. And there's a reason why, but I'm going to say it later on in the it could be again a crazy prediction, but yeah.
I mean, none of us would have predicted like a potential death by chocolate. So
right.
Anything's on the table at this point. So while kind of we have the story of Lamplighter and Huey breaking into the 7th Tower, of course, the rest of the boys are really kind of focusing on the Congresswoman, and then also trying to get Jonah Vogelbaum to testify against Vought. So we see that Butcher eventually does kind of succeed in that by threatening Jonah's family and being just overall real angry and sketchy. And then they go to the trial. That's what I have to say.
I just want to talk about the scene with Butcher threatening Jonah, and how dark that was, and how amazing what's his name, I always forget his name,
Carl Urban.
Written down. Carl Urban, right? Mm-hmm. how well delivered it was. He just switches it off right when the tea comes in, and it just turns right to charming. It was fantastic to see. But in terms of the Congress hearing, there wasn't much of one, was there? Because snap, crackle, pop.
I don't think Jonah
and-
even got a word out, did he? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. But it
No.
was almost immediate. Yeah, no.
I don't. Yeah.
Even watching Homelander, it was just funny to see Homelander surprised but not scared. Like all this like loss of life and just goriness around him, and he's just like, who's doing this before I can do it?
Right? That look of contemplation of like, wait, why didn't I know this was a thing?
Yeah. Everybody else. And I think like there was a speedster there. I think A-Train's replacement.
Yeah, his head popped off
Yeah,
too.
he
I can't
gets
remember his
right.
name, but yeah, his head popped off.
Yeah.
Oh.
And,
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
But no, there's a lot of questions, and I guess it's gonna lead to the call to action for the season finale.
Yeah. And then I realized there's one last thing that happened that I feel like is worth mentioning leading into the finale, and that's Homelander went and picked up his son.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So shows up with Stormfront, completely like gets in between Becca and her son, and like tells the kid that like life is real and there's an outside and all of these horrible things that he should know but also shouldn't know for his own protection. And then he leaves. And now I'm nervous about what that's going to mean.
I'm just gonna go back a little bit to the butcher scene, because I would like to note that was probably my favorite scene in the entire episode, because it really shows Butcher being just like serious, right? And then like his turn of being charming to, listen, I will kill your entire family. No remorse whatsoever. I will kill them if you don't testify. So that for me was my favorite scene in the entire episode. And then now going back to Stormfront and Homelander and the Sun, I think this is all like Stormfront's idea. I think that Ryan has something that she wants, because like my original prediction was it's not actually Homelander's kid, but it could be Butcher's kid. I still think that, but also if it is Homelander's kid, then he is the first natural born superhero. So there's probably something in him that can kind of stabilize Compound V to make it safer to just inject into every other like an adults so they don't explode.
So true. I agree with you. I think it was very intentional. Like I thought the moment where Stormfront like looks at the baby in the crowd and was like, "Oh, like I remember when my daughter was that age." It was like
it's all plain.
So it was I was like, "Okay, girl, I see right through you." Even though Homelander doesn't. I know you're like, so I assume she knew about Ryan and really was just trying to like get close to Homelander as a way to get close to the Sun. So I'm nervous for that poor kid because he's already got some rage now. And now he's got two crazy parents, so he's doomed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's sort of Becca's like fault for not telling him. It's like, hey, we're here because Homelander raped me, and now we're prisoners. So,
yeah,
like if you want to talk truth, you know, just drop that truth bomb, and then you'll see.
I do think that would have been a good idea.
Yeah, but you know. Then again, if that's out there, then there's really no reason for Homelander to keep her alive. So maybe that's partly why. There's also one thing that I want to mention that was actually like the scene that probably stuck with me the most in this episode, and that was the opening. That was really
yes, yep.
Yeah,
that was a great scene.
That was alarming.
It really was. I know, it was alarming, and one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, this is what happens in real life. This is exactly how it happens, why it happens, and the like the consequences and what happens afterwards, like the results is exactly the same. It plays into Stormfront's her tactics, and it just perfectly encapsulates like today's political climate.
Yeah.
If anything's wrong,
totally repressed that opening. My God.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, it was really dark.
Mm-hmm.
Well acted by that dude too. who
Yeah.
you can see his like slow.
You can see the churning.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
eventually a little flicker of the light in the eye. All right, this guy's a soup. I'm gonna do this for
My
Stormfront.
country.
Bam, and the country. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's it.
Ooh.
that was a
Dislike.
powerful scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely. And
I-
for
I-
us to start with that, and then for just a mention of it from Stormfront,
Yeah.
just of like, oh, we think about his family. Moving on.
Yeah,
I just want to say that he did not have superpowers. That was a car light that shined right on his face, and it made it look like his eyes glowed. And yeah,
Glue.
that was glue. Yeah. Whoops.
Okay, I feel like now's the time to make any like new predictions going into the finale next week. Lou, I think you had a couple that you had mentioned.
yes. Let me start off with my Black Noir prediction, because I recently found out that in the comics, Black Noir is actually a clone of Homelander.
Oh. Whoa.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
Wow.
but I don't think, because we saw in the mask, we saw that
Yeah.
he was kind of dark skinned, right?
yeah. And
So what
a little
if-
burnt up.
Yeah.
Scarred.
So what
yeah.
if he is a clone of Stan Edgar? Since who can Stan Edgar trust
but Stan Edgar.
but Stan Edgar, right? So that's his personal bodyguard. It's actually just him.
Wow.
I love that,
Okay.
and I hate that. Like I could totally see that, but that's alarming. If we're moving into clone territory, that's new stuff.
There's been a like huge lack of Stan Edgar in like the past few episodes. It was just like that one part, like first episode, and then again with like Black Noir, and I assume he's going to come back in the next episode. But that's a solid prediction.
Imagine if
I don't
that is
remember him.
Stan Edgar. Like when he was
He
on
just
the phone
is
with
Stan
the
Edgar.
when he was on
When he
the
was on the phone with Stan
Butcher,
Edgar, it was him.
did we see him or no? We didn't see him, right? Just his voice. Okay,
I
I'm
don't
reaching
remember.
too much now. Okay, let's
I'm
stick
not
with
confident.
clone.
Tinfoil hat time. No,
I'm sticking with clone.
Clone is good.
That's a
Clone
good
is
one for
possible.
sure.
Yeah. Well, and the other one I already mentioned, that Ryan is the key to stabilizing Compound V.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see
What about
that.
you guys?
Oh. Well, I mean, if this show is anything like any other shows, season 2, the big bad has been Stormfront, and you could just assume that like she's gonna next episode, like that's it for her. But she has been working close to Stan Edgar, and maybe like her plans were actually just his from the get-go. So maybe that's one way out of it, that she'll die, but that evil intent will carry on. Now, her dying, I don't know what that's going to do with Homelander. I don't think he's going to take it very well. But yeah.
I'd be curious. Like, I don't know. I don't think I have any like really legit predictions, but the thing I think would be really cool to see would be a showdown between Homelander and Stormfront with him protecting his son. Like, she does something to the son that Homelander's like not down for, because he does have this weird, like, he cares about his son in his own weird way. And I'm wondering if his care for his son will supersede his feelings for Stormfront. And if that could be like some type of situation that arises, where like maybe she takes his son somewhere and doesn't tell him, and he like loses his marbles, because that could be a thing. And I also do agree, I forget who of you said it at the start, but I think Maeve's gonna die, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because like, not gonna lie, but shows love killing off LGBT characters. So like, it would not be the most surprising for them to do that, but maybe they're aware that that's a thing and therefore won't kill her. Could go either way, but I still think she might die, unfortunately.
Well, I also did kind of think that Stormfront was gonna die. And this is because from Alex's previous prediction of Starlight using Stormfront's energy,
Getting supercharged, yeah.
supercharged, and she supercharges enough that it kills Stormfront, basically just losing her power and dying in the process.
That'd be cool. I'd like to see that.
But like, you just know Kimiko's gonna get that killing blow.
Oh my god, I forgot about Kimiko.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
She's
Kimiko's
gonna go
get,
in and
like,
just like take
Yeah.
her heart out.
Yeah, she's
For
gonna do
sure.
something nasty.
It's
to
gonna
her
be
while she's-
it's gonna be
yeah.
bloody. Whatever it is, it's gonna be bloody.
Yeah. She still has to get her revenge. I'm guessing Starlight might incapacitate her in some way and just like let Kimiko in there. And there's another thing that in the episode, I don't know if either of you have noticed it, but Starlight and Butcher, they both meet their mom in the exact same coffee shop.
Yeah,
It's like,
I noticed that too.
I did not
Quite-
notice that.
Yeah.
Quite
It's
the
Java
parallel.
Bean. It's called something so stupid that like I had
Yeah.
to, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I pointed it out when I was watching it. I was like, wait, is like this their world Starbucks? Like, what is this? Because Starlight's mom was like, oh, do you want the unicorn drink? Which is a thing from Starbucks, like the unicorn frap. So I was like, no, I see you, Starbucks. I see you in there.
Also,
So,
a weird thing that I also kind of noticed, since we got our tinfoil hats on, is the nice tender moment between Frenchie and Kimiko, leading me to
Guns.
believe that one of those two will die, because they always do this. You give people a nice tender moment and then you kill one of them off to to highlight that said moment.
But if we're going with tender moments, there was a really cute moment between Starlight and Kimiko where they hugged.
That's true too.
Oh.
That they had that cute little like bonding lady moment, and I liked that a lot.
Don't make me think about Frenchie dying. I don't think it would kill Kimiko. Well, I don't know. The show's called The Boys, right? The team is set. I think it's too early to kill off any of the boys.
That's true.
But like
Yeah.
we've made it to the end of season 2 and they haven't killed one, or at least like they hurt people, but they haven't really injured people. So I feel like they could also do one of those like, oh, they're pretty much dead, and then at the start of the next season it's like they're in the hospital.
I was also thinking, I know we were also kind of thinking that Stormfront was gonna die. I mean, I said that, but next season you have Soldier Boy, and you know that Soldier Boy and Stormfront, or Liberty this time, kind of butt heads. So if you take out
so she might be alive for that.
Yeah. We're just going all over the place now. What if this happened? What if that happened?
It's a mess.
But maybe they didn't butt heads. If you think about it, the name Liberty means, pro-America. And what's
Soldier Boy.
Soldier Boy, yeah. Pro-America.
He could be on
know.
the same page as her. Yeah.
Yeah. He could be the next big bad.
Ooh, just like Jensen Ackles, don't do us like this.
You never know.
Can't handle it.
See, I'm thinking the next big bad is the church.
Yeah. Well, they're really setting it up to be something after they disavowed the Archer, Eagle the Archer, just decided because he wouldn't cut out his mom that they didn't like him anymore. So.
And fucking the
He's
Deep
toxic.
is just a doofus, man. Oh, yeah.
I love the dude. He's
yeah.
like, I love
him.
that guy. Just kidding. He's toxic.
The way he touched his head when everybody was blowing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really is stealing the show. Yeah. He's like, oh,
He's like,
no.
am I okay? I think that brings us to the end of our review. So with that in mind, next week is the finale, everybody. So make sure you leave your prediction in the comments or whatever you want to do on our socials. They'll all be linked down below, of course. This has been The Lunchbox. I'm Michelle. I've been joined by Lou and Alex, and we will see you next week. Also, listen to our podcast. Bye.
True. See ya.